So, what is a cervical orgasm and how do you go about having one? Or if your partner is a woman, a owner of a cervix, how do you go about giving her a cervical orgasm? Now, the cervix is cervix means neck, so the vertebrae in the neck are called the cervical vertebra. The cervix essentially is the neck of the womb. So a woman will have a uterus. The uterus comes down. It comes down into something that's almost a little bit like a nose, yeah, pointing down into the vagina. So actually, when you put your fingers in the vagina, you can feel something in the back of the vagina, a little bit like the tip of your nose, and that is the cervix. So when the woman becomes pregnant, the man would ejaculate inside her. The sperm would go into this tiny, tiny little opening, swim up into the womb, and then distribute out into the fallopian tubes. So essentially, the cervix is the bottom of the womb. Now, the well-known types of orgasm, I'm a believer that there's an infinite amount of orgasms that anybody can have, but the most well-known, there's the clitoral orgasm. So the clitoral orgasm is from clitoris being rubbed. It tends to be a kind of contraction, opening and shutting of the vagina entrance. Then you have a G-spot orgasm, which tends to be from stimulation of the G-spot. It's more inside. You could say there's more intense clamping. In fact, the tension can be so, the clamping can be so tight with a G-spot orgasm that can literally like force the penis or the hand out of the vagina and force out female ejaculation, as we know, as I've talked about on several occasions. Now, what is a cervical orgasm? Because when we put the fingers further inside, we've gone past the clitoris, we've gone past the G-spot, and right in the depths of the vagina, we're finding that little tip of the nose thing, which is the cervix. How does that orgasm? What happens when the cervix orgasms? Is it really true? Can cervixes really orgasm? Now, I think a cervical orgasm is one of the most magical orgasms you can have, because one of the things about it is it's a very subtle kind of orgasm. It's a very kind of a subtle vibration which moves right up the center of the body. And you've probably heard me talking about uh, full body orgasms and talking also about this energy meridian that comes up the center of the body, saying that when you have a full body orgasm, what's happening is the orgasmic energy is actually coming up this energy meridian, and hence why the whole body is like this, yeah. And on the woman, the beginning of that meridian, in a sense, is actually the cervix. On the man, it would be the prostate. In the woman, the cervix. So it's almost like a kind of like sucking up of the energy by the cervix. Now, how does it happen? Why does it not? Why does it seem to not happen with some women? Now, I just want to just mention a little bit of trivia, which is there's actually been some Western medicine research into cervical orgasms, and this research seemed to have shown that women that have cervical orgasms are less likely to get cervical cancer. Now, this is really interesting because when we look at a cervix, where it is inside the vagina. Now, if a woman is having sex, and especially if there's not been enough foreplay, she's not relaxed in her pelvis, then the jackhammer style of banging sex commences. What's going to happen is the penis is going to hit her cervix, which can often cause pain. So if you're having sex, you feel pain, it may well be that something is banging against your cervix and that the cervix is not fully relaxed, causing all the tissues around here to tighten. So it's causing like chronically long-term big tension in the lower abdomen, which is not good for the general functioning of your digestion. It's not good for your bladder. Certainly isn't good for your sexual organs, and potentially can have an effect of causing fibroids, I think, as well as other sexual problems. Now, in order to have a cervical orgasm, there's a need for that cervix to be like very, very relaxed, so that the energetic mechanism, which is an orgasm, can actually happen there. So the reason why most people find it's much more easy to have a clitoral orgasm is because when you look at the more external part of the genitalia, these are much more likely to be more relaxed. As you go deeper and deeper inside, you're more likely to find areas where there is like a lot of tension. And that basically is why you find often inside, very many women will say they don't have an awful lot of sensation inside, and when it comes to touching the cervix, that they're not feeling very much at all. Now, one of the things, because when we do tantric massage, obviously we use our fingers, we really go inside all around the vagina, we're massaging all of that to really relax the tissue, we're finding the cervix, we're relaxing the cervix, and many women will actually feel when their cervix is touched, they get this kind of feeling of just it's not necessarily a nice feeling at first. It can be like a real, like, vulnerable sort of emotional feeling can come up, which can be uh, quite shocking and quite surprising. I mean, I've actually learned to be like really careful with that, because it really actually can trigger something, trigger a release, but not necessarily everyone is ready to release. So I learned to be extremely careful with that. Now, many women will also say they just don't feel anything when you touch the cervix, so they might be like, okay, and then as you massage it, they might start saying they feel more. But many cervixes, I would say the majority of cervixes, are not really open to having an orgasm. Now, if your partner, because it's not so easy to touch the cervix on yourself, also because when you get your finger in there, your body's not going to be relaxed. You're going to be tense. So whether you're going to have a tantric massage, if you can find your partner to massage your cervix, it often can take really just, it has to be the most gentle massaging that you can almost imagine, with the woman like really relaxing, really breathing deeply, really letting go of all tension. And that's when she can start to have these amazing, incredible, magical orgasms. Now, if on yourself as a woman, you want to start having cervical orgasms, well, how do you do that? How do you activate your own mechanism within yourself to have cervical orgasms? I mean, it's definitely something that we can learn. And I think one of the things for me that was so helpful was when I started learning the Taoist practice of the jade egg. I started to learn to obviously bring this egg into the vagina and go through the vagina almost like this tunnel, just moving the different muscles, starting at the beginning, going in further and further. I do explain how to do this on my women's self massage video, but basically, to just get in touch with all these different muscles, because we actually have a lot of different muscles and tendons inside the vagina. And when we learn to just gently, now I'm not talking about tight Kegels, I don't know that I necessarily recommend these, but actually to learn to just create very gentle pulses in the muscles, coming in further and further, coming all the way back to the cervix. And by learning to isolate the muscles, it's actually possible to start wiggling the end of your cervix. And when you do this, you can really have like quite a pleasant, nice feeling as you start doing it. I can tell you, you may need to practice for weeks, even months, to get it, because these muscles inside, most of us, maybe we can squeeze it as one, but when we're actually learning to isolate the different muscles, some people might get it straight away, but not everybody will. And if you don't get it straight away, don't worry, just keep trying, just keep practicing, because it's just sometimes we need to practice, and that's completely fine. But when we start to just wiggle a little bit, it's a bit like when we kind of roll the shoulders to relax the shoulders. We're creating that same kind of thing, like inside the uterus, where we're starting to relax the cervix. And as your cervix becomes more relaxed, as the tissues relax, as the blood flow starts coming back into the cervix, you're going to find that your sensation is coming back. And obviously, getting back to the cervical cancer thing, this whole thing with abnormal cells, which women are being tested for all the time, we actually can find that if it's very tense, the blood isn't flowing, it is going to affect those cells and cause them to have the wrong kind of changes, because toxins are getting stuck there. So it's really important to, if possible, if you have a partner, you can have them give you that gentle massage of the cervix, to learn to get into this own relationship with your cervix, to actually um, use those muscles and move it, you know, and really, really just start to relax it, and you're going to find that there's such a big difference in your whole relationship with your vagina, in the pleasure that you experience, and also in those orgasms you're having, and you're going to start feeling those gentle cervical orgasms just moving up your body, like gentle, beautiful, relaxed waves, and really just start having just yeah, just those amazing, incredible experiences.